Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast, the official podcast of This Is My Bourbon Shop, where we talk with friends about what makes bourbon the spirit of Kentucky. My name is Perry. Thank you all so much for being with me in the very second episode of 2018. Woo! Happy New Year. Yay. Everybody looks very excited right now. And with me this week are our new recurring guest co-hosts of the podcast, Chad and Sara of It's Bourbon Night. What's up, guys?
Yeah, I didn't know if we could talk yet, so
I wasn't
that's why
sure.
I was like, I'm just gonna let him
Are we allowed?
go.
You're always allowed to talk.
Okay,
That's
well.
one of the things, like, when we were first getting everything started, Tanner was like, how much do you want me to interject? And I was like, talk as much as you want. I mean, that's what makes it fun to me.
Yeah, I mean, once we start pouring this bourbon, I'm just going to say whatever comes to my head.
Anything
so.
goes at that point. But I want to say before we hop into everything, thank you guys so much for being a part of this now on a regular basis.
Of course.
I've talked about you guys a lot and It's Bourbon Night a lot on the show. You've been on the show before, so you're actually the first recurring guests of the show. Which makes it,
Oh, you're going to make us blush.
Well, we're all friends and all that good stuff. But anyway, before we hop into everything, you guys have been doing some awesome stuff recently, not just with It's Bourbon Night, but with other channels too. Talk a little bit about what you all have been doing.
Well, we actually just partnered with the Scotch Test Dummies for a live episode on their channel. So you can check that out on their channel. That was a fun one. We got to try Scotch for the first time together. For the first time that either of us can really, a notable time that either of us can really recall.
Right, that we can actually remember what
Right.
the brand was and all that.
So that was awesome.
Yeah, and then we've also recently been on, I've been on 2 episodes of the Bourbon Daily on the ABV network, and coming up is
I've got one coming
Sarah's episode.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's
Very cool.
That's recording this week, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Seems like the podcasts, when they come in waves.
Yeah.
Because I think, I can't remember. It seemed like we had another 2 in a week. No, they were released. The episode of the Bourbon Daily that I was on came out the same week that
That's right.
our episode of this podcast came out.
Yep.
So it's like,
And that was really kind of fortunate, or not fortunate too, but just kind of coincidental because, I'd been holding back on your all's first episode for a little while, and then, I think did you wind up doing that Bourbon Daily episode the week before it came out, or was that?
it was, I think, 2 weeks.
So regardless, it is just kind of circumstantial that it
Yeah.
all kind of fell
Yeah.
at the same time. But that being said, it does kind of seem to all get lumped together at the same time.
Yeah.
Before we get into the meat of everything, I want to I have a correction for my last episode.
Uh-oh. Corrections,
yeah.
corrections with Perry.
Woo!
I don't know. I guess that means it's going to be recurring.
He's gonna use that again.
It will be because the last episode too, I had a couple corrections as well. So
it's a recurring segment.
this is unfortunate, but that's
But
just
can
how it
you
goes.
use that little singing soundbite before
Absolutely.
everyone?
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
great.
try to put in the little musical backtracking with it as
Yeah,
well.
that'd be
Can
great.
you overdub or overdub me so there's 3 of me harmonizing with myself?
Oh, great! all
Otherwise-
the Chad Perkinses you could ever need.
Otherwise, I'm not allowing it. It's not authorized.
So anyway, I had mistakenly said that Knob Creek single barrel is typically 12 years when it is in fact 9 years.
9 years.
And I think the reason that I accidentally said that was because the last Knob Creek pick that I had before the one that I just got from, Kroger Wine and Spirits, which this one was 13 years. The one I had before was a 12-year pick. I got a little confused. So anyway, I wanted to establish that so I didn't get angry tweets and emails and everything.
Yeah, so you're saying the stock right off the shelf.
It's just 9 years.
Yeah, single barrel.
Yeah, but the pick that I had before the one that I have now was 12 years. So everything just got kind of crossed over.
Yeah.
So I wanted to establish that. Don't at me.
Don't come at me, bro.
Please.
Don't come at me.
So on this bourbon drinking podcast, we like to drink bourbon, of course.
What?
And so I decided that I want to dub this part of the show First Pours.
Ooh.
So What's our first pour of the night, Chad or Sarah?
What are we gonna do? We're gonna do.
I'll let him choose.
Yeah, well.
I'd kind of like. Well, let me just dictate. I'd like to have the two. We have two Jefferson's picks in front of us. One is a Jefferson's Reserve, and the other one's just a Jefferson small batch. One from each of our sides.
Which way do you want to go? Do you want to go
From both of our houses. I'd like to have those back to back. A bourbon on both your houses. I would like to have them back to back. So whether we do them first or we do them last, but I would like to have them consecutively.
Let's save them. Let's save the Jefferson's picks for last.
Perfect.
So that we can do not so much a flight fight, but more of a head-to-head battle.
So you see how I was like, Chad, you pick, but actually I'm just gonna pick.
It's the illusion of choice.
Yeah.
That yeah.
It's not really there.
So well, the only other thing on the table is this old Fitzgerald.
Yeah. So here's the story behind this Old Fitz. I got a liter of Old Fitz Prime, which was 86 proof from a friend a couple months ago. And I brought it over to Chad, and he was like, that's normally 80 proof, right? And I was like, no. So I didn't open that bottle. I wound up finding a 375 of it at a store in Lexington called, what was it, Wildcat Liquors or something like that.
There is one of those.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a sketchy store, but they had these, and I was like, what's the proof on it? He said 86, and I was like, well, I have a bottle. I want to go ahead and try this instead of cracking open the liter. Just in case it was, something worthwhile. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it is. I haven't been able to find any information on when they switched from 86 to 80. So if you have any insight into that, send us a tweet, email, whatever, and let me know, because I'm actually really curious about finding that out.
Yeah, I had there was a few bourbons, actually Jefferson's being one of them, that I got when I first started collecting bourbons, that I had kind of left over, because I had this period where I would do a lot of bourbon nights with friends. We'd come over and try stuff, and that's kind of, we went into origin stories on the last episode or our episode. But so I had like that original like 30 or 40 bottles for a while, and a fifth of Old Fitzgerald was one of them, and it was 86 proof. But I have no idea when I got it. It could have been anywhere from 2002 to 2008.
You're showing your age. Cover that up.
I'm going to edit in like beeps or something so you can't hear the year.
Exactly. So who knows? But so it is interesting. I want to know too. So when you find out, let me know.
Yeah, I will definitely find out. So let's go ahead and do our first pour of the show. It's a screw top, so there's nothing dramatic about it.
No cork pop.
Unfortunately. I did revisit this the other night, and I want to see. We'll get first reactions too, as after Chad's done pouring the throwing everything into the sound library. Anyway, so Old Fitz, 86 proof.
Prime bourbon.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Excuse me.
Prime bourbon. This is what Optimus would drink.
Jeez. I can't not.
I need a little bit of bourbon before we get into the...
Yeah, like...
Autobots,
I need a
drink bourbon.
I need a warm-up before that. Is that what a Transformer sounds like?
When they're transforming, yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I was unaware.
No, I'm assuming that this is not very old. I would say it's probably 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah. Well...
if that's the case, though, bravo.
Yeah.
I think it's at least 4, because there's nothing on here that says its age, and if it was under 4, it would have to say it.
Oh, that's true.
So we can safely call this 4 years at least.
It's like a peanut brittle candy or something, but it has this like weird...
Did you already drink it?
Dry finish. He did too.
No, I've been smelling it.
I thought I I saw you
drink
sip
through
it.
your
No, I've been
mouth.
sniffing it.
You
I could
smell
have
through your
sworn.
nose.
I'm so sorry. I got excited.
No, it's okay.
I retract my previous comment.
Wow.
But
I'm
I do smell a lot of the peanut on the
Yeah.
nose,
Yeah.
though.
It's like a candied. It's
Yeah.
very candied.
Now, does this go circus
a
peanut
savory.
for you?
No. See, circus peanuts and peanuts are completely different things. Like, when I'm talking about circus peanuts, I'm not talking about peanuts that you have at the circus. I'm talking about those gross orange marshmallow gas station
Why would you think
candies.
that?
Yeah, why would you think that? What's wrong with you? Everybody knows those gross marshmallow, they're orange, puffy, just gross. I don't know who buys them.
Will you please buy a bag so I can, when you find that
Yes,
again,
I will find them.
I can then
Yes.
smell the bag
Yes,
and be like,
you got it.
okay.
You
No,
got
that
it.
it is exactly that, though.
Because I don't know if I
This
know that.
is peanuts like peanuts.
Like the cartoon
No.
peanuts?
Like
Or?
the planter's guy with the cane and the
okay.
monocle.
All right.
I see that.
Yeah, definitely nutty.
It's got kind of a funky
Yeah.
A
finish.
little musty smelling.
A little bit, too. I do get a lot of the corn on the nose, though. I mean,
So that's-
Sweetness,
it's
when I
awfully
said like
prevalent.
a candy, I think but that's where I'm
Yeah.
getting the sweetness
Yeah.
from.
I mean, it's very prevalent to me.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
But not terrible. I've had much worse.
Chad's diving into his.
I've had much worse recently.
Yeah. Tasty now.
As we
If you
wait
don't
with
know
bated
this
breath.
about Chad, and I'm watching him tip this Glencairn up as it like bumps his nose a little bit, he hates Glencairns for this reason. He says it takes you out of the conversation because, and if you seriously try this at home. When you sip out of a Glencairn, you cannot make eye contact with someone
you
else
cannot.
while you sip,
It does require a lot of attention to drink.
or
out
you'll
of a
choke.
Glencairn.
Yeah. I don't hate them, but, I know a lot of people love them, so I don't want to be ostracized by the community.
I'm sorry, I said hate, and it was a strong word.
It's just not my ultimate. I don't feel like I've found the ultimate bourbon drinking glass, and I will find it.
Interesting. So even the Norland glass,
Right.
Um,
Norland glass has a learning curve. If I don't drink from it for a while and I go back and I go to it, I spill.
I spilled too.
Because you think it's just going to be as thin as a Glencairn,
You
and
forget.
it's a thick thing. I mean, I love the Norland. I definitely think it does make a difference. Now the question is, and we're going to try to quantify this through some, good old bourbon drinking research, if it's a positive effect or not.
Yeah.
It's definitely an effect, and I don't think you can deny that there's a difference between drinking from a Norland or in a Glencairn or a rocks glass. There is a difference.
Well, in terms of like positive versus negative, if you are somebody who prefers having a little bit of heat or a little bit of the alcohol ethanol-ness on a bourbon or alcohol in general, I don't think the Norland glass is for you because every time that I've had anything out of it, it has completely eliminated the ethanol nose on the and on the palate,
Which is what they, I think they set out to do.
Yeah.
So I think they succeeded.
That being said, I mean, I kind of enjoy that just because I get a lot more of the flavors up front.
Yeah.
With the Norland
Yeah.
glass.
I feel the same, and I feel like 80% of the time I drink out of the Norland glass, I enjoy the bourbon more, or if it's something I didn't really care for before, I'm like, oh, I never saw it this way. It's been uncovered. See you in
yeah.
a different light now. But there have been a couple, I think, that we've had where I was just like, I don't know if I like this as well out of this glass.
Exactly.
And I don't know if it's just the way, I don't know, how the flavor's
Yeah.
affected. But
So I don't think it makes every bourbon better. It makes some bourbons better and potentially some bourbons worse.
Yeah.
So I don't know. More research is needed.
For science.
Yes.
science.
For science. No,
Must
this
keep
is,
drinking.
I must keep drinking, yes. Yeah, this isn't bad. It's definitely had worse.
Oh, yeah.
recently definitely had much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty solid. Not much heat or kick to it,
No.
I mean, it's a... Again, and I always feel like I come back to this with lower proofers. It's a real good everyday sipper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to get you in too much trouble if you're looking to have something that's a very standard kind of bourbon. I think that I don't know if I've actually had the 80 proof to compare. So I can only speak for the 86 proof.
Yeah.
But I would recommend this as just kind of a greaser
Greaser.
for early in the night.
I would just think that the 86 proof is definitely better for it. I mean, you go down to 80 proof, and that's just for us anyway.
Water flavored.
I feel like you lose a lot. You just lose so much character.
Yeah, I agree. And I also haven't had the bottled and bond version yet either.
Oh, now that's good. I've got a handle upstairs.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
That's some tasty stuff.
Take a little drag off it. It's like the nuttiness is definitely amplified. You know,
cool.
It's,
you and your nuttiness, Chad.
Yeah,
He loves it.
you know, it's in the realm of like almost like a Jim Beam product.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with its nuttiness.
Good deal. So we had talked about doing this last time that you all were on the show, and I wanted to. I feel like a lot of what we talk about on the show, not necessarily with you all, but is more serious, heavier topics about bourbon. So I wanted to dial it back a little bit, as we kind of did last week too, with talking about the beginner bourbons. I wanted to talk about what a bourbon night actually is. It's the namesake for your all's channel. That's what brought us together as friends. It's, all that good stuff. I'm rambling a little bit, losing track of my thoughts.
Well, that's what it's made for, is to bring people together. Yes.
So if you were what is the one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who is wanting to have a bourbon night?
Buy bourbon.
Well, I do think that that's a good, interesting point, though, because I think, like, if you want to be proper about it, I think you need to provide 2 to 3 bourbons for a sampling. I think that you should have an idea of what the other people like, if you can, or just something general, like if they're new to bourbon and you want to introduce them, what are some good entry-level things that you can taste, and so that they can kind of find out what do they like. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. I kind of say, can't believe I'm asking this. What are your rules on language? Don't half-ass it.
I have no rules. I have no rules on language. Let them fly.
Okay. Yeah, just don't do it half-assed. I always say, when you're starting out, you might not have a whole lot of glassware. So it's okay to go to your party store and buy the little plastic glasses, especially if you're having a lot of people over. But if you have the means, I really recommend doing it out of a glass container, and preferably everyone to have the same type. Doesn't have to be this, same model of glass or whatever. But if you're using a rocks glass, have everyone use a rocks glass.
If everybody has solo cups, everybody make sure you're using solo cups.
Yeah, because it really can, as we just been talking about already, the vessel can change the experience. So especially if you're having a bourbon night and you're trying to introduce new people to bourbon, I think you want to try to do it as professionally, and I just use the air quotes that you can't see, but professionally as you can. Just take it serious, but don't take yourself serious. But respect the bourbon. Get some good bourbons. Maybe do a little splurge. Because it's a bourbon night. Go ahead. That's a perfect excuse to spend outside of what you normally spend on a bottle. You're going to share it with some friends. Maybe one of your friends will do the same thing and kind of splurge, or maybe people will chip in for that bottle so you can experience it. It's a perfect reason to do something like that.
And I don't see any problem either if you are the host of the bourbon night to say everybody bring something.
I totally agree. Yeah, yep. I think that you have to have a minimum on hand. Because sometimes people, it's weird. You don't ever want to be like, everyone has to bring a bottle. Because someone will show up without one. So you want to have something to give. But then also, it's kind of like maybe include one of your favorites in there. Ask other people to bring their favorites. Definitely. And it doesn't have to be like their most expensive or anything. But that way everyone kind of gets to share what do they like, why do they like this one. Maybe you get to have something you never had before. It's a sharing experience, and, sharing is caring, as
sharing
they say.
Is caring.
I will say one thing I've learned, and we've done this many a times, had bourbon nights, have food. You need food. You need, some kind of snack thing beforehand, during, after, and I'm talking more than just crackers. Perry, how many times when you first came over and we had bourbon nights was I like, let's get pizza? I just always want pizza because it makes you hungry. You sip 4 bourbons and you're like, I need food. So I think having a food plan, a pizza plan, is
Yeah.
always a good idea.
Yeah.
Make it more than just a drinking party. Make it a,
It doesn't have to
A
be
party.
fancy
A party,
snacks,
yeah,
but,
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
the hunger will hit. So
Oh, absolutely.
The hunger is real.
Sooner rather than later, normally.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had a question. No, I lost it.
Well, so let me ask you, like,
sure.
what have been some of your earliest bourbon night experiences? What was the format? Was everyone trying different things at different times, or the same thing at the same time? Was it blind? Like, what?
So my, I think my first like experience with a bourbon night was after I got the Van Winkle 12. And yeah,
And we weren't invited?
I didn't know you guys yet.
Not an excuse.
I didn't know that bourbon night existed. I didn't know that, but it was actually with Curtis and Tanner. I was like, guys, I want to share this with you all. Come over. And, we had more than just that too. But yeah, for me, it's not just, drink whatever. For me, I like making bourbon nights special. Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And we, like Curtis and Tanner and I, off air, we've done, thank you, Chad. Chad's divvying out the Glencairns, the rest of the Glencairns.
I'll also ask you to please pour water in your last one, and then drink it, and then put it upside down on the drying mat.
Put it upside down.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it'll, because we're gonna
missed a
with,
step.
We're gonna have to
with
reuse
3
it.
bourbons,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to reuse one.
Yeah,
So did
for
you wash
sure.
it out?
I did. Yes.
Did
This is a
did
test.
you?
Oh
Did
my
you brush
gosh.
your teeth?
Yes, Dad.
Jeez.
Actually, well, you finished your thought. What was your thought?
I don't remember what my
Good.
thought was. So.
It doesn't
He
matter.
was talking about what a nice time it is to have a bourbon night.
Yeah.
With your friends.
Yeah. But we've had off air bourbon nights too, where we've done stuff like flight fights or just. One of my favorite ones too was Curtis came over one night and I just kept pulling stuff out like, you got to try this, you got to try this, you got to try this.
Those
And
are
I
the
mean,
best.
Yeah, they really are. So I think an important thing too is don't limit yourself to the 5 that you put on your list when you say, we're going to have a bourbon night,
Been there.
Well, and after the 5th one, you always tend to be a little bit more generous. Like, let
Yes.
me dig this one bottle out for you. You need to try this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when the generosity kicks in.
Been there.
Yeah, Chad's one for that.
Well, that's when I've had the 10 bourbon night
Ooh.
that we called 10 bourbons because we accidentally pronounced it or said it wrong. Like, we're almost up to 10 bourbons, and then it became 10 bourbons. And then we started naming. So 5 was Fifel, 6 was Sexton bourbons. I can't remember what 7
This is the first
was.
I'm hearing of this, Perry. I think it's just...
Sarah and
it's
I are
weird.
exchanging looks like, what's going on?
Oh, this is all with my good friend Seaton,
I know,
which is
yeah.
one of the original people I had a bourbon night with.
Yes, and then they like to call and leave...
Harmony messages.
Yes, they call them harmony messages, but it's really just them drunk yelling into your voicemail, and you wake up the next morning and listen to it, and it's you're not prepared. You didn't know it was coming. It's like a freight train hitting you. You're like, oh no,
The
what is
message
that?
left in harmony.
It's not, but they think it's in harmony when they're drinking, but it's really not.
Oh, it's in harmony. It's just that little microphone in your phone can't
Correct.
handle
You're right.
the quality
okay.
of harmony.
Seaton, if you're
Okay.
listening to this, your harmony message was beautiful.
See?
Don't stop them.
There you go. Yeah.
Anyway, Chad, you had a thought.
Oh, right.
Just one.
Just one. That's about right. That's my quota. I'm meeting my quota.
Makes for good podcasting.
It does. I was actually going to say and remind the listeners that one of our earliest episodes is how to do a flight fight.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's true.
And a lot of those rules can kind of apply to a bourbon night because one of them is don't brush your teeth right before you drink bourbon.
Don't
yeah.
brush your teeth right before you drink bourbon.
And if
Or orange juice, because
If-
that's really
yeah.
gross.
if you do, you need, and this is the importance of a control bourbon, you need that first bourbon to take the brunt of that.
Definitely.
And we always have a control bourbon, which is something that we normally, one of our daily drinkers, so we know how it tastes, to kind of acclimate. It's kind of like stretching before working out. So we get our tongue acclimated to the alcohol, and you wait 10, 20 minutes, have some water, and then then you
Go on your
start
next-
you actually start your bourbon night.
Yeah. And what do you typically use as your control bourbon?
For the longest time, we used Henry McKenna.
Yeah, and I
single
still
barrel.
love to use that. But lately we've been doing kind of whatever matches the category of whatever.
Okay.
So I mean, if we're doing like a rye fight or something, we'll have a rye.
A rye,
Or
yeah.
if it's bottled in bonds or high proof, we try to have something. Like I wouldn't want to have an 80 proof bourbon if we're about to do a bunch of barrel proofs.
Yeah.
Because it just isn't.
And the
you're not,
reverse
it's
of
not
that, too, I
prepping.
think is true.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you had a barrel proof as your control when you're about to do a bunch of
An 80
80 to 90
proof,
proof bourbons, then you just fried your tongue. So good luck.
Exactly. Yeah, and
so
if,
yeah.
if you have a barrel proof as your control, wait 20, maybe even 30 minutes.
Maybe an entire hour.
before you, especially if it's a flight fight. I mean,
Yeah.
please exercise caution
Right.
with barrel-proof bourbons.
Drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly and drink more bourbon.
And if you're doing a flight, I'd say half an ounce is plenty for those. It catches up with you.
Yeah. Another little tip for your bourbon night is to cleanse your palate. Water,
Yes.
always good. We've been going through the myriad of crackers to try to find the perfect cracker. We're kind of on the oyster cracker right now.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
They're small, they're bite-sized, a little bit of salt on there, not too much, nothing too flavorful.
Flavorful.
Nothing too flavorful.
Never flavorful on there. So that's great. Then I like to do what I call the cleanse.
Oh, no.
Because when you have a taste in
This
your
is
mouth.
about bourbon, not about your your New Year's resolutions, Chad.
I must cleanse this place. When you have
poltergeist reference, is that what that was?
this house is clean.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
We got there eventually.
When you have something really strong in your mouth, all the water you drink, it's still there. It's still in there. So I do the cleanse occasionally, and it's water, soda, water.
Gross.
Because soda is more has more of a personality than
It's
water.
acidic.
Right? It's acidic. It gets in there. It just kind of shocks your tongue. Hey, this is something completely different. Then you got to wash it out.
Yeah.
Maybe have another cracker, then
It's
water
actually
again.
really
You guys,
interesting
this
approach.
takes forever when this happens.
So what you don't see in the flight fights is occasionally I'll say, I got to do the cleanse. And I bring out a soda from underneath, do water, soda, water, put it down. Like, okay, now we can continue. And that part
He
gets edited
flicks
out.
the light switch 3 times, knocks on the door.
No.
Twirls around.
Yeah.
Soda.
He counts a
Soda.
lot.
Soda.
One of the I wanted to back up a little bit here. One of the things too that I wanted to do by having Chad and Sara on as regular guest co-hosts was to also kind of expand on things that they may not be able to talk about all the way through with It's Bourbon Night on YouTube. You're only allotted so much time on.
Uh-oh, Sarah's making the my drink's broken symbol. There's nothing in my glass.
But I interrupted Perry.
Well, yeah. Let me finish. Let me finish real quick, and then we'll get into something else. You're only allotted so much time on YouTube before people lose interest in what you're talking about. So, if Chad and Sara have a bar mat conversation that they want to expand upon, we're going to use the podcast for that. We had talked about doing a crossover episode before for beginner bourbons or for divisive bourbons, which, by the way, last episode, I told you to use the hashtag beginner bourbon if you wanted to let us know what your top beginner bourbon was for somebody who may not be into bourbon yet, or you wanted to get them into bourbon. So keep using that hashtag. Keep adding us at It's Bourbon Night and at My Bourbon Shop. You can also use the hashtag, This Is My Bourbon Podcast, so that we can keep everything kind of in one place together. That being said, throw all that together. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
We want to drink more bourbon, though.
Yeah.
Drink more bourbon.
Okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to go into the Jeffersons, or do we want to drink something else in between?
I'm kind of anxious about this Jefferson's, honestly.
All right, let's do it.
Do you want to go reserve or do you want to go small batch?
Ooh,
Let's do a small batch.
Okay.
let's do it.
All right. Well, this is an uncorking because this has not been The seal has not been broken. So, Sarah, do you want to tell us?
I
where we
will
got
tell
this?
the story of this Jefferson. So this is
Gather around,
Jefferson's-
children.
Yeah, gather around. Listen up.
Tell us the story of this Jefferson's. Where did it come from?
So last year, and we're coming up on almost a year now. Pop. We were in New Orleans for the New Orleans Bourbon Festival, and Trey Zoller of Jefferson's was down there, and we got to hang out with him a little bit. We got to go to his bourbon dinner. The next afternoon, surprisingly, we were alive because there was quite a lot to drink at that party. And so we were walking around New Orleans, sort of close to Bourbon Street, and there was this little, like, you couldn't almost walk past it, liquor store called Vauqueray. And apparently it's like really well known there. And so we walk in and they have rows of Stag Jr. on the shelf. They had some E.H. Taylor. They had Baby Saz, like everywhere. It's everywhere in New Orleans. They just are like, here, take it. We don't need it.
And with your fill up is a free bottle of Baby Saz.
Yeah, basically.
Like, what?
And they had the little tasting bar, and they had their own pick of Jefferson's. And so the owner, like, we're just going after all these bottles. We're like, oh my gosh, we're like two kids in a candy store. So we've got more than we can carry very quickly, and we go up to the counter, and the guy sees how much we have, and he's like, well, would you like to try something else? Like, these idiots will buy whatever. So we sampled this Jefferson's pick, and I don't know if it was just the excitement of the day or it was just that delicious.
That's what I'm anxious to see.
Yeah, we were like, we got to get this bottle. So we bought it, and we haven't opened it since then, and now we just have opened it.
So this was an official uncorking.
Yeah.
We're not going to call it uncorking because that's your all's.
But if you're ever in New
thing.
Orleans, go to Vauqueray because the cutest little old man owns it, and he is just adorable. And yeah, Chad carried a case of bourbon for like 13 blocks or something in the heat. In the heat, it was so hot, and I just remember we had to stop a couple of times at corners because he was like, I was like, do you want me to carry it for a minute? He was like, I got it.
Did we eventually get a rickshaw?
We did. We got a rickshaw.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
But you did carry it for a long time.
Yeah, I did.
I was impressed.
So it has been about a year since you guys have had this.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. I'm interested to see your notes on it. I've not had this before. This pick specifically.
Kind of has the typical Jefferson small batch nose to it.
Yeah,
It does.
fruity. Slight
Yeah.
spice.
Mm-hmm. Now, for anyone at home that just might have the same pick, this is batch number B925, and it's bottle 49. You're not going to have bottle 49 because we have it. But, yeah, Vauqueray wine and spirit.
Now, I have before we actually get into it, I don't remember exactly which episode it was, but you both, I think, mentioned that it's good to, and we kind of do this naturally anyway, it's good to swirl your glass to get some of the flavors and the notes
Just
to come
to
out
kind
of
of
it.
aerate it, kick up those aromas.
But you followed that up with a caveat, which was not too much.
Don't over swirl because you'll spill.
Well,
Oh, is that the only reason?
Oh, well, that's why I don't over
that's the
swirl.
only reason. I mean, yeah, you can over aerate, I guess, but especially so we're drinking out of the Glencairns as we've established, and this is a very pointed as far as direction of aromas. This isn't like a rocks glass. This is smells go here.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you kind of have to exercise a little bit more caution, I feel, with the Glencairn. And I've seen a lot of people do the one nostril method, so they just do the
I kind of tend to do that.
roll.
Yeah.
The roll into it, or some people hold it. away.
Iverson does that.
Yeah, roll. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right.
What a brat. I actually love him.
Iverson's episode of the show has not come out yet. Love Iverson to death. When you all are able to hear that episode, you will understand why I love Iverson so much. He is a very generous young man.
He is. He's the sweetest.
He's a
I've
one-
actually known him since the 6th grade, which is funny.
He's a wonderful bartender, for those who don't know.
He is.
And human being.
So go
Yes.
give him your money.
Yes, and he's at OBC in Lexington.
Yep, OBC Kitchen.
So anyway, this Jefferson's pick.
Mm-hmm.
I oddly get like orange zest and kind of like peaches almost.
Yeah, I kind of do too. And it's by no means a bad nose.
No, it's interesting though. I don't
It
know
is.
how often I've ever said orange zest and peaches. That's the first time I've ever said orange zest. I know that.
Maybe
Yeah.
when you're drinking
Maybe
an
even
old fashioned.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit of lemon. I mean, it does
It's
smell
very
like
citrus.
That's what it is.
Smell
yeah.
like a cocktail.
But it's like rinds, like the rind
Yeah,
of it
it's
that goes
the
with the
peel.
cocktail. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the peel. It's not the juice.
I mean, it's a pretty good nose. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm
We shall
interested.
see.
Yeah, let's find out.
All right.
I'm waiting this time to make sure I'm not the first one.
Yeah, it's really it's
Okay.
light.
That's the most unique small batch I've ever had.
For sure.
You know, from them, but
It's very like airy and light.
The back of it, I don't much like the back of it.
yeah, that's what I was just thinking. I really liked the first
I think it
taste.
hit us at the same
I know.
time.
I just
'cause
kind of looked. We both
kinda-
looked up and
yeah.
were like, I don't know about that
Yeah.
part.
Well, I mean, it's miles different from the old Fitzgerald.
Oh, for sure. Well, for one, the Old Fitz is a weeded, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, that automatically puts it in a different category.
Yeah. And this is an 82.3 proof.
Really,
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
it's like smoky on the
It
back
is.
end or some kind of weird.
It kind of drinks more like a Scotch than it does.
It is a little bit.
I've never seen an 82.3 proof Jefferson's.
That's
I
very.
don't know if I've ever seen an 82.3 proof bourbon in general.
It's very odd.
I thought Jefferson's was normally around 90.
I thought so, too.
90.2.
This one's 90.
90.4.
The reserve is 90.
90.4.
Yeah. That's
Well, we
so
don't drink a
interesting.
lot of small batch though either, so I'd say that's probably.
We
I mean,
don't, yeah.
that's the one I'm the least familiar with.
I'm not even sure if I have a bottle around here to check its proofage.
No, there's.
There's one right there.
Oh. Is that staying corrected?
Please hold for
Please hold for confirmation.
information. Oh no,
Oh
Look, Karen
no.
fell. it's okay. It's not broken.
Oh, okay. No, this one's
good.
82.3 proof.
Really?
Yeah. Guess I just never noticed that the small batch is such a lower proof than the reserve.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say it was the novelty of the experience of being in the store
I
that
would
made
say
us
probably
jump
so.
at this.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, it's
I
the
think
best small batch of Jefferson small batch.
And I think at the time we were thinking this is so interesting and different, and it is.
It is very different. I've never had anything like this before, but so
It's perfumey.
It's very
it
perfumey.
is. It is. So, what did y'all pay for it?
Oh, maybe like $30.
He threw it in.
Oh, he did.
If we got.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
We got a. We bought a Jefferson's Reserve, just a straight off the shelf Jefferson's Reserve, and he threw this in.
That's right.
He said, "If you buy this
Interesting.
Jefferson's Reserve, I'll throw in our pick."
Very
Okay.
interesting.
Because we had also already had
We
5
had
other
a
bottles.
whole case.
Well,
yeah,
true.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Between us. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is about $30, right?
30 to 33. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Upper end
roughly.
35.
So, as everyone knows, and we're going to review both of these, I think, for the purpose of the show. Repeat listeners know that we have a review system.
What?
Yeah? Do you have an epiphany in the...
Is there something you'd
No,
like to share
no.
with the class?
No. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have a review system on the show of nose, palate, finish, and price. Each category is out of 5, and then at the end we tally it up for a total score out of 20. Typically, we kind of fall under... we fall around like 15 out of 20 as being things that we consider like better scores or, you know, more preferable scores or whatever. So I don't know what Chad's doing right now. He's
think
folding
he's
up pieces of
making-
paper.
Paper for us to write our scores on.
Well, I've just noticed by listening to your podcast that a lot of times you guys forget what you scored.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like,
no, that's a good point.
write it down.
And a lot of times by the end of it too, we've had quite a bit to drink as well. So
You have a pen?
I do have a
Oh, you
pen.
have
Yeah,
a pen.
I always carry a pen around with
Wow,
me. Fun
okay.
fact, and a notepad in my back pocket.
Nice.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
because you're a
look at me.
designer.
There's also a
That's a-
thing
that's a
called
good-
a phone.
You cannot. You
I
cannot
have plenty.
sketch
I
an
have plenty
idea
of
on a
notes in
phone.
my phone as well.
Yeah.
So we're doing nose.
Nose, palate, finish, and price.
Okay, make some notes here.
Yeah.
If I can spell finish, I spelled fish.
How would you rate the fish on this
4 out of
bourbon?
5 fishes. This is a little fishy taste.
4 Star
I'm
Wars
not
is out of
kidding.
5 Star Wars.
I looked down,
yeah.
I was like, fish. Finish price. Okay.
So
Out of 5?
I think you do it silently, and then he goes around and we reveal, just so you know. Just because I felt her
I was going to say, I give it a...
blurting out.
I blurt. That's what I do.
It runs the mystique.
Well, Chad, do you want to go first then?
No, because she's bogarting the paper. I think we let her finish, and then she'll go first, and I'll
Sure.
I'll write mine.
I appreciate you guys letting me try this, though.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I've been looking for an excuse to open it. I'm always looking for an excuse to open anything.
You guys have mentioned that to me a lot recently, too, that
Those palette.
finish
Finish
the press. That when you guys get something new, you're really excited about it, but you almost have to wait for the show before you can...
It's a blessing
open
and
it.
a curse.
Yeah.
Like, we'll buy something, I'm just, like, so excited to get it. We'll go to the store, I'm like, ooh, Chad, can we open it when we get home? He's like, no, we have to do an uncorking. And I'm like, ugh, why do you hate me? But at the same time, I get it. You know, it's like a missed opportunity if you don't. And then you're faced with buying the next bottle, and then you have to buy another bottle of it. So it's like,
Yeah.
I understand. But I'm the one that's all eager, and he's the sensible one. So, yeah. It's our dynamic.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe I should have gotten you your own piece of paper.
I think that may have been a good idea, but it's okay.
Well, it was free.
Because there's a shortage.
It was free.
There's a shortage
so
of paper.
It was
We're
great.
in the
It was
great
a
paper
it was a
famine of
great
2018.
price.
So
no, I'm talking about the
everyone's-
bourbon was free, so
Oh.
it was a great price.
Well, think about though what.
No, I'm gonna put what
30.
the normal
Yeah,
price is on
I would.
it.
That's what. And especially, I like to do like even if you pay above retail, still go with the retail price.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Sarah, would you like to go first?
Sure. I gave the nose a 3.5 because I thought it was really unique and interesting, and I was excited about it. The palette, a 3, because I liked it at first, but then the finish I gave a 2 because I did not like that part.
Yeah.
And then the price I also gave a 2 because I feel like for an 82.3 proof, over $30, I mean, I don't know, like, it's tough because I respect the brand, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm iffy on that. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm iffy on that.
Do you know though?
I
don't think she knows.
No, she doesn't know.
I don't know.
So that's how I feel. I mean, I feel like if this was 27 or 28, I would think that was a good deal. So I don't know if it comes in at 30, but it's more often than not we see it for like 33. So
True.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique flavor profile, and it's definitely its own flavor profile, I feel. Jefferson's their whole thing, and what I love about them is they're upfront that this is source whiskey, and it's a combination from different distilleries.
Right.
3 different bourbons of 3 different ages of 3 different mash bills married together to make this, unique bourbon, which is really cool.
So your total score was what, Sarah?
Oh, I didn't total it. My bad.
Math.
Anybody who listens to the show knows that math is not our strong suit by any means.
But now we have paper.
It's a 10.5
10.5 out of 20?
out of 20.
Okay, good deal.
I mean, I don't know if I might even give regular small batch a better score than that. I just did not. That finish really killed it for me.
That's where it fell short for me as well. Chad, would you like to move on to your side?
Sure. Okay, just from listening, I think we're actually pretty similar. So I gave the nose a 3.5. I think it's the most unique and pleasurable thing about it, actually. Gave the palate a 3 out of 5. It is pretty nice there in the beginning, but the finish is where it starts to go downhill. I gave that a 2. And price, I still gave it a 3. I think it's solid enough, but again, for it being, a lower 82 proof, I'd like to see it kind of a little bit better price. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. So if I'm doing my math correctly, that is an 11.5.
We all wound up with pretty similar scores at the end of it. I actually gave the nose and the palate the same score. I gave both of them a 3, just because I mean it. I always kind of fall back on this phrase, but they're really kind of neither here nor there for me. the nose was interesting for a bourbon. It's not something you typically smell with that much citrus. The palate was kind of okay, but then the finish I gave a 1. I really am not a fan of the finish. And like on my last sip, I don't know if you noticed, but I was over here making like
yeah. I wish you could see this
like disgruntled dog faces.
Yeah, like someone squashed a cat or something, and its tongue just stuck out like blah. I don't know. Not like actually squashed it, but like a cartoon cat.
I know what you mean.
Cats
I know what you're
can't
saying.
catch a break.
And now, all that being said, I originally gave, and this is going to sound kind of contradictory. I originally gave the price a 4, but I am actually going to bump it down to a 3.
Now, don't let us influence
like
you, Pear.
I thought about it a little bit, and I do think that it's one of those things where you kind of have to experience it to really understand exactly what we're talking about.
Correct.
That being said, though, $30 is a bit much for.
It's not unique enough.
It's
the 30.
not. But if you're just looking to try something new,
yeah,
and you run across it,
yeah,
take a chance.
No wonder he threw it in.
But no, and that is such the reason why we do blind flights.
Right. Well,
down there.
We were wild about it
in New Orleans with this, as you said, sweet old man in this Willy Wonka store of bourbon goodies, and he's here, try my barrel pick, and we're like, oh, it's so good, no way. And then if we were
what
to
a generous old man.
I guarantee you, the same day, if we tried it blind, would have been like, whoa, this is kind of funky, funky. So yeah, that's the.
It was still a cool experience. I'm so glad.
It really was.
Yeah,
me too. And we definitely have to go back to that store because it was cool.
Well, we're about to.
Oh yes, you all
Festival.
are about to head back there.
March 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, I believe, in New Orleans. I'm not promoting that at all. I just would love to see you there.
We would.
And I'm sure that we'll talk about it a little bit more too before you all wind up going down there as well.
Sure.
So overall, I gave it a 10 out of 20.
So we were at a
10.5.
10.5 and 11.5.
Yeah. Yeah. Good deal. Writing it down does help. Look at us making changes.
If that's my only contribution to this podcast, then so be it. I'll be happy.
You're the brains behind the pen.
That's what
Well, I can't be the beauty.
That's Perry.
That's taken by Perry.
Lucy hasn't been on the show yet, so I do actually want to have Lucy on sometime.
But this is radio, so
it is radio.
So when you're saying you're the beauty of it,
well, eventually we are going to start.
Sighed, like legitimately sighed.
Side note.
Dang it.
I was in around Christmas. I was in Kroger, and they were playing Barry Manilow singing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas." And throughout the whole thing, he just sounded like he didn't want to be singing. Like he wanted to be doing anything else other than having to sing this Christmas song.
I'm making $5,000 from this, and I really just want that, but I don't want to be singing this.
But then, like, in the middle of the song, he audibly sighs. He goes, through the years, we all will be together.
And the producers are like, well, that's the best take. Let's just leave it in.
We have to keep. I mean, he has to be out by 2:00.
Yeah.
It's 1:45.
What are you gonna do?
Wow, that kind of sounds like Frank Sinatra towards the end when he was like, bing bang boom. Okay, we got it. Moving on. It's like he didn't care. All right, Frank, we got it.
I've always said that at the beginning of "Kiss" by Prince. When he goes, like, they go, all right, Prince, we need to figure out something to do with the beginning of this song, and he goes, I got an idea, hit play or hit record, and he does that, and they're like, was that it? And you're like, yeah, it was perfect. Okay, man, you're Prince.
Yeah, I can imagine that they took a break for lunch, but they were still recording, and they gave him like his sushi, and there was something funky, and he was like, and like, did we get that? That's starting the song.
That was it. That was it, man.
That was it. That's transcendent.
Oh my gosh. This just went off on a real big tangent.
It did, but let's get back to bourbon, I guess.
Okay.
So we are now going to move on to the Jefferson's Reserve Liquor Barn pick. Now, the reason that I brought this over is because we, and specifically you guys, have not had great track records with Liquor Barn picks.
That's true.
They're hit and miss.
They are.
Been a few more misses than hits.
I can't remember the hits. But I'm sure there was at least one. Actually, you know what? I did have a Weller 107 pick that was actually really good, and I just polished off that bottle at home.
On the flip side of that, I had a terrible Weller 107 pick that my dad just polished off because I wasn't going to touch it again.
And see, this is why I really feel that they do a tasting bar full of a bunch of random stuff, and like the Wathen's Barrel Proof was on there the other day, and I was like, great, I can taste it. Do you have any here for me to buy? No? Okay,
Nope.
So then why is it on the tasting bar? Like, I don't really understand. Isn't this to promote sales? So if I were them, I would put all of the best picks up there, because then people can try them and they'll buy bottles of your picks.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, don't know what I'm going to get.
Well, it does happen at some stores. You know,
Yes, that does happen at some
Even a
stores.
Liquor Barn, the one in Bowling Green, they had where you could a little tasting bar.
Oh
there in
yeah,
the
I think
middle.
we tried their Knob Creek pick, and I liked it. It's just good, to be able to know what you're getting into. Because for you, like if you had that one bad Weller 107 pick, but then I
wouldn't have
told you
bought
about my great one, you wouldn't have bought
No,
yours.
would not have bought it.
But like, you might continuously try whatever ones they have up there because they're going to change, and see maybe somebody came to their senses and did a different pick.
Well, I'll tell you this: Perry is a more generous pourer.
Oh yeah.
Than
I'm like,
yeah.
Perry, do you know?
Sorry.
This is goodness. I mean, it's his bourbon, so go for it.
Yeah, I was not being stingy, but I was like,
It's a school night.
it's a school night, everybody. So.
I don't start school again until next week.
Oh, okay, well.
Oh, that smells good.
Significantly different from what we had last time.
Yeah.
And by the way, here's how I acquired this bottle. I walked into Liquor Barn. I saw it. Let me get it. I got it.
Great story. Tell it
That
again.
is good.
I walked into Liquor Barn. Oh wait, never mind. And they had bottle 93. I was born in 93, so I had
Oh,
to
so
get
that's
There you go.
bottle 93. So anyway, and I was kind of it was one of those things where I was like, I want to try something different. And I like Jefferson's. I wanted to see if I'm always interested in store picks. So I wanted to, try something different this time around. So, and I don't think I'd ever seen a Jefferson's pick before then. And here I am, with two sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
They do them.
There's Jefferson's Ocean
Picks.
picks as well.
Really?
Yeah. Liquor Barn had an 11 pick.
That's bizarre.
Or no, it was a 12.
12 pick, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a cast strength pick, which I was really interested in trying, but didn't plop down the money for it.
Right.
Have y'all had the 12 yet?
Not
No.
yet.
Okay.
No. I have every Ocean Voyage from 1 to 11.
Mm-hmm.
One extended. It wasn't the very first one, but it was limited to like 900 and something bottles.
Gotcha.
And I think I'm going to stop at 11. Because Ocean's 11, it's like the movie, ha ha ha.
I get it.
You said maybe the next cast strength, but
Yeah, I'll
it's
probably
sort
get
of a-
13, because 13's a cast strength, and 8 and 10, 7 and 10 have been the cast strengths, and those have definitely been my favorite voyages. So I'll probably get 13, but I'm probably going to skip 12. I would gladly taste it if someone has it. Someone wants to send me a sample, go for it.
Wink, wink, nudge,
Wink,
nudge.
wink, nudge, nudge, know what I mean? But yeah, probably not gonna keep the library going of them.
Yeah, well, it's just quite an investment to keep
Is.
the collect them all
It's a
mentality.
pricey
Yeah.
bourbon.
Yeah.
And you're feeling the same way too about Old Forester birthday bourbon as well.
Well,
If I could get it for retail, I'll buy it.
yeah, yes and no. Like, yes, if we could get it for retail, we would buy it. But no, like, the thing about, I have not had an ocean voyage that I thought, ew, no, this wasn't worth it. Mm-hmm. I have had a birthday bourbon that I thought, why? What were we thinking? Why did we do this?
Did you ever look at what the proof was on yours?
No, I mean I remember from the text conversation there was a different proofage than yours.
See, and then I went back and looked at it, and it was 95. Mine was 95.4, and I think you said that yours was also the 95.
No, that's the old one. Oh, there it is.
Chad's
I'll
got-
tell you.
Well, please do.
Hold on.
1 moment, please.
96 even.
Oh, okay. So I do have the other
different?
one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do need to do a side by side.
Well, after this, you're welcome to try it.
I would be happy to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't mind.
It's your funeral.
I just can't believe that you don't like it that much.
Believe it, baby.
I really like the 95.4.
Well, I had the what was it? I think it was in 2012 at a friend's house, and it was really good. I like that, and that kind of seems to be the general consensus of the internet is they're not as good as they used to be. But people still like the new releases.
Sure.
We just haven't had one that.
Yeah, it must be just a miss for me. I mean,
But Old Forester in general, besides the 1920,
the Whiskey
all kind of
Rose
a miss.
series
is okay.
is good. I like
Save
the
1920.
1897. The 1920 is the best. It's
Yeah.
the star of the show.
For sure.
Everything else, I could leave it.
The
you
price is not. I don't think it's worth the price.
Yeah, I could leave
for
it.
those others. But 1920, it's great.
Yeah,
good
that's
stuff.
like one of my top favorites, which is crazy because it's like I don't like anything else by them, but I love this one. You know,
Yeah.
like from Heaven Hill, I'm like I love everything. Oh, we're sipping now.
I dove right into it. I know what I'm getting into.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
you know.
Perry's had this, so
Oh man, that's just miles better. But it still has that. Especially trying this one before it,
it's
you
reminiscent
can see
of some
how
of those
it's
flavors.
this bumped up
Yep.
several notches.
It gets rid of all the things I didn't really like about it.
Yeah.
Like the smokiness or the overly apparent citrusy-ness.
Yeah.
Like, and not that I don't mind citrus, but there was just so much in the small batch that was one of the reasons that it kind of
Yeah.
knocked it down for me.
What did you say this cost?
50 bones?
45.
45?
45. 45. Okay. I've locked in my vote.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, I've locked it in. Dun, dun, dun. No, it's good.
Come on, I need to pay attention to the finish one.
It's good. One thing about Jefferson's is they never really go very oaky or barrel influence.
No.
You know, they
Not at all.
never go that direction. They never go nutty or real dark or kind of chocolatey. They always just kind of stay nice and light, which is good. If you really let it stay on your tongue and you kind of breathe some air in it, you get a little bit, maybe like a brittle taste, but not super dark.
I get some dried fruit.
Yeah, you get sort of kind of a little darker profile, but nothing that goes like, some of these others that we've had lately. But
I know, isn't it a funny thing to see?
what?
The part of your process where you do that.
I don't know. You just
When you
gotta,
try something
you gotta
new.
work your mouth around. You just gotta get in there and just let it talk to you. That's what you gotta do.
Whatever you say. It's been working for you so far, so I'm not going to do anything about
Why
it.
change success, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
Chad, do you want to go first on this one then, since Sarah went first last time, or do
Sure.
you need some more time?
Well,
Have you written down your score?
I have.
Cough it out.
Going back, drinking a couple more times. I will say this: I do get a little more wood in it. The more you slosh it around, let it decay on your tongue. Now this is a perfect example. Going from this small batch, I couldn't really get that taste out of my mouth. So what did I do? I did the cleanse. I did water, cola, water.
Definitely.
A little bit more water after that, and I was reset. But I am, like, if we had this one first, I wouldn't be picking up on that, like, super citrusy, floral, and fruitiness in this as much. But since we started with the base, and then we moved up to the reserve, yeah, I'm really seeing how it is the regular Jefferson small batch elevated. You know?
Definitely.
It's
definitely.
It's older juice. It's better juice. It's a higher proof.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's definitely worth the extra,
Yeah, I would always
10,
get
15 bucks.
reserve
Yeah.
over small batch because
Definitely.
I just don't see the reason. If
I
you're
know,
gonna,
unless you're making cocktails or something.
yeah, and
True.
I
Or
did actually
beginners, yeah.
mean to say that about the small batch. Is I would like, since it's so like citrusy and interesting, I'd love to try it in a cocktail. But knowing this, I would never, put $35 or 30 or 33, whatever, into the small batch when I could just put 45 into that one. All right, score. Sorry, I'm rambling.
After all of that.
Yeah. The nose, I gave it a 4. I think the nose is one of the best parts of this. I don't think it quite delivers on the nose. After that, I put the palate at a 3. I had it at 3.5, but I was like, is it really 3.5? Like, would I score something a 5.0? No, I'd probably put it like a 4.57. So knowing that this isn't really a 3.5, it's a 3. The finish I thought was pretty equal to the palate. I thought I wasn't gonna like the finish as much as the palate, but I kept it at a 3. And then what am I like exactly your same scores or something?
No, but we had same thoughts just in. Sorry, let me get on the mic.
Oh, there you go.
We had same thoughts, but in different categories.
Oh, okay, cool.
Are you okay, Sarah?
Sorry.
Down the wrong hatch, eh?
Mine are choking instant.
Walk it off. Drink some bourbon. Walk it off. And then
Solid advice.
price. I do see more value in putting $45 into this, but I had to think to myself, there's other bourbons out there at $40, at even $30 to $40.
That's true.
That I would rather have besides this one. So I gave it a generous 3 out of 5. I feel like. So hold on, 3, 6, 9, 14.
Sounds like the beginning of a
That was
Little John song.
3, 6, 9. Damn, that's fine. Whatever.
Wow.
To the window.
right, that's enough.
To the wall.
Wow.
No more,
That's good.
no more bourbon for either of you.
No,
You all are
this
both
is
cut
good.
off.
This
I
is
shouldn't have
good.
said anything.
3, 6, 9.
All right, that's enough.
This has turned into. Is Sarah getting embarrassed or what?
A little.
She's like, and I'm out.
Yeah. All right. Goodbye.
It's been fun. Do
That's
bourbon
my
night on your
exit.
own, Chad.
That's my exit. So, if my math checks out, I gave it a 14 out of 20.
Okay, cool. And again, that's about where like our pretty favorable reviews fall. Like anywhere from 18 to 20 is on the higher end of it. 14 to 16 or 17 is about where we start saying, yeah, go buy a bottle because you should definitely try it.
Yeah.
So I mean, 14 out of 20 is by no means a bad score.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
Sarah, have you recovered enough?
Yes, I'm good. I don't know what happened there. So on the nose, I gave it, same as Chad, a 4. On the palate, I gave it a 3.5. I just thought like the nose and the initial taste was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The finish still wasn't hitting home for me, so I gave it a 3. And then for price, like comparatively to, and I hadn't changed this based on what Chad said. I thought about it based on the, cost of the small batch and then the cost of their other expressions, which are much higher than this.
Right.
I gave it a 3.5 because I think it is the best value of the brand. Like, I love their wine finish and their rum
Definitely.
finish in the ocean, but that is all we're talking. I mean, close to double what this costs.
Special occasion.
Right, that's a special
higher
occasion.
end
So
stuff.
for what you can get, I think it's a good sample of what that could be.
Definitely.
So, but like he said, there are a lot of other bourbons that you can get for $45 that I don't know, especially when we're talking about a pick. Here nor there. So I also gave it a 14 out of 20.
Cool. It's funny. We all wound up. Chad has a puzzled look on his face.
How can that be? You had a 3.5 and a 3.5, and I had a 3, a 3, a 3, and you had a 4. Did I do the math wrong, or did you?
You might have done the math
okay,
wrong there,
look,
Chad.
3.5 and 3.5 is 7, right? Plus 3 is 10. Plus 4 is 14.
Huh. 3, 6, 9. And then another 3 would be 12.
12.
And then you add my 4, which is 14. Or
Wait.
13. 13.
13 out of
13.
Okay.
9 plus 4
Sorry.
is 13. I was like,
Sorry, it was
What
me.
is-
Not a shocker. Not a shocker that I did math wrong.
it is kind of a surprise that in this relationship I'm sometimes better at math.
You're
And
always better at math.
That's my like weakest subject. So.
Your weakest is better than my weakest, which is also math. So
Yes.
13 out of 20.
Okay.
To update that. Well, you all are just as much to blame because I was like, it's 14 out of 20. You're like, okay. You're like, damn, that's fine. That's what I believe you said.
I was still choking and hung up on that song. So
3, 6, 9.
Well, we all it's funny because and I'm gonna reveal my overall score before I give my breakdown. 13, 14, 15.
Well, you do like it.
I am a huge fan of this one.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
Inadvertent Little John reference. Lil John.
You guys are
going
gonna get flagged for like some kind of copyright infringement.
I hope not.
What? All right. Sorry. That's the
I
last
hate
one.
that song.
Last one.
I overall am
every song of his. Because every song has that in it. Sorry, go ahead.
I am overall a pretty big fan of this. I hope that they still have some on the shelf. I would like to go get another bottle of it if they do.
It's a pretty ringing endorsement.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the things that I've had more recently that I've actually been more drawn to. I've kind of had to keep myself from drinking it.
Will you just give us?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I wanted you guys to.
Aww.
I get excited. You guys know I brought you all that pour of Henry McKenna, which we reviewed on the show, and I'm such a big fan of because I wanted you all to try it, and because it was so different.
Yeah.
That was good.
But man, and go back to it was the last episode of the year that I wound up doing with just Curtis, where we reviewed that one. We both gave it super high marks. I think I gave it an 18 out of 20.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I said too, it's hiding away up in my bunker.
Yeah. That's what we gotta do.
Because I don't want it to go away anytime soon. Anyway, so the nose I gave a 3.5. It is one of the weaker parts of it, but that being said, it's not weak. It's just on the lower end of the spectrum for me. Palate I gave a 4. I think the palate's fantastic. It really kind of explodes for me once it hits the middle of the tongue, and it's a real discovery as I'm going through it. Finish was a 3.5. I do wish that the finish had gone on a little bit longer, but everything that I like was still hanging around for me. And then price I gave a 4. If you're in Lexington or in the general vicinity and you can get to a liquor barn and you can find this pick, I definitely recommend getting it. It might be that it's just to Lexington. It's just confined to Lexington. That being said, come find it.
I dare you.
If you can, yeah. And let me know what you think about it as well. So overall, I gave it a 15 out of 20. Again, I kind of fall in that category for stuff that I really like. But we, spoilers, did a review of Jim Beam White Label last week. Didn't score so well, but, it's just Jim Beam White Label.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So thank you, Chad and Sara, for letting me try the small batch pick that you all
for
got.
Sure.
I'm glad that you enjoyed the reserve pick that I brought over. I'm tired. I'm rambling a little bit. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's about my bedtime. I'm with you on that.
So we are going to wrap up the main part of the show and launch into what is formerly known as recommendations and is now being called tips and bits.
Tips and bits.
Tips and bits.
The best part.
Tips and bits, sir.
Do you want to give him the tips and bits?
Full of impressions today.
So, in the same vein as recommendations, Chad, you know the way that this segment goes. Do you want to lead off so that Sara has an idea?
Man, I just had something when I was listening to one of your shows, and I was like, well, if I was on it, I would say this. I completely forgot what that was. Jeez. When you get on the spot, you're just like, I don't know. I don't know. Woof.
Is it supposed to be like where you recommend bottles?
No, just anything.
It can be anything.
Oh.
Doesn't have to be bottles.
Stay in school. Don't do drugs. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
If that message resonates with you, then stop listening to this podcast about alcohol. That's my tip.
Yeah. Another podcast. Not one that I would call competition because it has nothing to do about bourbon. I watch Mr. Sunday Movies on YouTube a lot, and
The Weekly Planet?
yeah, the Weekly Planet.
Yes, it's my favorite podcast of all time.
So I don't know why it took me so long, but I was like, because I mainly listen to like Nerdist podcasts and stuff, and a few about bourbon, but I was like, I always enjoy this guy's video on YouTube, and I love the way he talks. Like, I wish I could just do an impersonation of him all the time. Because
I love James.
I feel like, he can just bust balls and get away with it.
And
it's
he
awesome.
does.
And he does.
And he does.
And he does. So I started listening to the Weekly Planet, and I listened to his Last Jedi review first, and now I'm on another one. So the Weekly Planet,
Absolutely.
on podcast. I know. This is actually a good one. I recommend a friend of mine who is an author. He lives out in San Diego. His name is James Matlack Rainey, and he writes young adult novels.
Very cool.
And he has a series called Jim Morgan. It's a Jim Morgan series. The first one is Jim Morgan and I shouldn't say it if I can't remember the name. King of Thieves and the King of Thieves. And it's a 3-part book series, and I've read it, and it's very good. He's a very good author. He has a new one called Lord of the Wolves, I believe. And he has a YouTube channel now, and he did a review on The Last Jedi, which was how I connected those dots in my brain.
Gotcha.
And actually, because you asked me what I think about The Last Jedi.
Yes.
And I told you that I wasn't so favorable about it. And everything that he says in his YouTube video about The Last Jedi
Is how you feel about it?
Is how I feel.
Fair.
It's about 15 minutes. You should go watch it. Just search, because I don't think he has his channel named yet. Just search James Matlack Rainey, and you can find his YouTube channel.
How do you spell his last name?
Matlack. Matlack.
And Rainey.
And then Rainey is R-A-N-E-Y.
I was going to say.
Hey, the bourbon works. I say that a lot.
R-A-N-E-Y?
R-A-N-E-Y.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's Matt, M-A-T.
Okay, cool.
If you're saying Matt, but I just said Matlack. James Matlack Rainey. It's all connecting, folks. It's all working. He goes by Rainey.
This is going great.
He goes by Matt, but his author name is James Matlack Rainey. So that's what I recommend.
Okay, great.
I'm going to stop talking now.
Sarah?
Does it have to be a podcast?
No, not at all.
Okay, well, Chad's probably sick of hearing me talk about this. But if you haven't seen it, watch Black Mirror.
Knew it.
Yeah, he knew.
Oh, I still have not watched it yet.
Yeah, I'm a
I've
huge
got to
fan.
watch it.
It's basically like the Twilight Zone, but for like current technology and the potentials of current technology. And I really like to have a couple of bourbons or sometimes wine, because I don't know if you know, but in my off time I do drink wine. And like I'll eat,
It's wine night.
yeah, I'll just be hanging out by myself,
Drinking
and
alone, classic.
drinking alone and eating an entire bowl of popcorn.
We've all
and
been
just
there.
binge watching Black Mirror, and it's just really great. It's an anthology. So there's 4 seasons you can watch. Any episode, they're all standalone. They got great characters, like
Very Twilight
actors.
Zone. Did you say that?
I did.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
very
did.
Twilight Zone. Yeah, John Hamm's in one. Bryce Dallas Howard's in one. Like a lot of current
People.
current people.
People are in it.
People are in it, and
People and
it's
things
really good.
and places.
They did a Star Trek spoof in season 4. What I would recommend for
Very
anyone
cool.
who wants to watch it is don't start in season 1. They hadn't really figured out.
Found themselves.
Right, they hadn't found themselves yet. It was good, but they hadn't found themselves yet. So I would start in a later season and then go back and watch season 1. But it's really great. And if you want to feel happy about yourself after you watch something, you're not going to want to watch this that day. You're going to want to watch this another time when you want to think about something for a really long time afterwards. But definitely recommend it. Top of my list.
Don't watch it before bed.
I watch it before bed sometimes, and I lay in bed and I can't fall asleep because I'm just it's still resonating, and I just can't. You have to process them when you're done with them.
Definitely.
But I still binge them, like, and then I just lay in bed after I'm done binging, and I'm like, what did I just see? So
I've seen a few episodes. I haven't seen them all, but they are good.
Yeah.
They are good.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I am also going. I am also going to recommend.
What you talking about?
I'm also going to recommend a TV show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
love it.
It is
I crushed it.
Fantastic. We are. Chad's going to give me a look. It is created by the same lady. Excuse me,
Girl lady?
woman. Who created Gilmore Girls. Chad rolls his eyes.
It's
do
brilliant.
they talk really fast?
It got nominated for a Golden Globe, right?
It did get nominated for a Golden Globe, yes.
Yeah, sorry to steal your
No, it's okay.
It's brilliant.
It's a fantastic show. We're only, Lucy and I are only like 3 or 4 episodes in, but...
I already finished it.
No spoilers.
And a couple bottles of wine.
Yes, I did.
Back to you, Perry.
It's on Amazon Prime if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more leading up to it, but my sister-in-law is going to be in a big Hollywood blockbuster.
Oh, that's right.
Strangers Pray at Night, the sequel to The Strangers.
Oh, I'm scared.
It is a scary movie. This is her first big break in movies. Go out and check that out if you like scary. Even if you don't, I've heard great things about it so far. Emma really enjoyed the filming process. They filmed in Northern Kentucky, of all places.
In KY.
And is that out yet, or when?
No, it comes out on March 9th.
Oh,
So I've got a few more weeks to keep hyping it up and everything.
nice.
So line up now.
I want to watch it. The first one scared me. I watched it. I was terrified though. Like now, I'm afraid to have my back to any open spaces that have doors connected to them.
Spoilers.
In the first one?
I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be a good.
What
it'd be
did
a
I
good
give
movie
away?
night.
In a horror movie, people sneak up behind you. Surprise!
Don't go in there.
Run the opposite way.
Don't go upstairs.
So am I doing the?
Yeah, I'm gonna pour you some birthday bourbon.
Okay, on air.
Pear Bear.
All right.
Yeah.
It's the Pear Bear's secret challenge, except it's not a secret.
So this is the special
Bear stare.
the special bonus review of the episode.
Yes, this is the 96 proof version of Old Forester birthday bourbon from.
Drink more
20
bourbon.
Hi everybody. Drink more bourbon. Cubs win.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea what I have to deal with, you guys.
And they've been together ever since.
Hi.
Hey,
If the moon was made out of bourbon,
do you think you'd drink it
would you drink it? I know I would. I'd pour it in a New Orleans glass and I'd just aerate it. Go to town.
I think that's the 6th impression that you've done tonight.
I don't know. There should be a counter.
that's my favorite so far. Okay, so I'm gonna dive into this Old Forester.
Because there was Frank Sinatra, Lil Jon.
Oh, he gave a...
Oh, he gave an oh, geez, and a snarl.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, based on the nose, my bottle's better.
Yeah.
My bottle's better. You don't know
The
me.
nose is awful.
Yeah.
It is nothing but ethanol. And like grass. That sucks. Okay.
Taste it.
Oh, and there's something else in there.
Poop. It's poop.
We're professionals.
I pooped in the
I think I'm the only one. I'm the only one here that's a professional right now. Jeez.
Well, Perry doesn't
All right,
know.
that's
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna try this.
Yeah. Oh my God, he drank it. Exactly.
That's how I felt about every
on
bottle of
earth?
that I've had. I want to bring you the one that I have at my house too, because it's like that.
Oh my
But
gosh.
worse.
But worse. The one that I have
Twice
is
as
worse.
bad. It's twice
So
as
for
bad.
anybody who can't see, I made a horrible
He's
cringy
cringing.
face. Oh my
All right,
gosh.
I want you to put this through the Pear Bear 4 rate system.
0, 0, 0, 0.
I want you to put it through its paces.
Nose is 1.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we got a 1.
Aggravated sigh.
Audible eye roll.
Yeah.
Hold on. Palate's a 2.
That's a 3 total.
Man, finish is a 0. I've never given a 0 before on a rating.
This is
history. But it's just nothing but ethanol. I mean, it's no good.
It tastes like
Yeah.
a chemical, doesn't it?
It does. It tastes
does.
very chemically.
So it's a 3.
Price is a 0. I'm sorry.
3 out of 20.
3 out of.
And people said we were crazy.
No, this is awful.
They said we were mad.
Well, you are, but
Yeah.
What are you mad about, Chad? And how does that make you feel?
I'm gonna also bring you mine. Mine's a 2015.
Yeah.
And it's just as bad, if not worse.
No,
So-
it's worse.
So for me, why would I stand in line and wait for this and pay however much more people want to mark up for it and all this for that? Because
Chad's
this
making basically the same face.
this
I
is
did,
the
by way.
only experience I've ever had with the past few bottles of Old Forester birthday bourbon that I've had. Why would I wait for this? Why would I do that to myself?
But here's the thing.
Even Chad's. Oh, he's gonna fall out of his chair.
I don't remember it being that bad.
This is
Well,
really
now
bad.
I need to try.
Well, it's
it.
because we've been having, decent bourbon tonight. And this is,
Sarah, yeah.
guys.
It almost tastes like apples at the very end.
Ugh.
Yeah, like ground up apple peels.
Yeah.
And dirt.
And cigarette
And dirt.
butts.
And cigarette butts.
And poop.
It really does. He wasn't lying. There's something in there.
Gosh,
Oof.
that is
I'm just
awful.
gonna. I'm just,
No,
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that for you.
I really. Fine.
Now, people are going to say, oh, it's got cork taint or whatever.
So
but-
of the bottles of the Old Forester
Yeah.
birthday bourbon that I've ever tried,
2
have
in
had
a
that.
row. No.
I mean, not just that. Like, you opened it and you were getting these same.
We filmed this as an uncorking. I didn't put it out because
Because it was so bad.
I'll
was
put it out. I'll
an
put it out.
unfavorable review.
I'll put it out. I don't care.
Would you be willing to put it out when this episode drops next week? No.
If I have time,
That's a scheduling.
if I have
question
time
for
to
Chad.
edit it,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
If I have time to edit it.
I really would like for people to understand our faces.
Look, we've got 2 episodes, and this one goes like very far back. Over a year ago, we filmed the 2015, and we had a sample provided to us from a friend. It was actually Matt Preston of the 2016,
yeah.
and we tried them back to back, and it was just, I mean, the 15 was awful. The 16 was decent. It was good.
But it still wasn't.
Dare to
a-
call it good. And I never put that one out because I'm like, man,
If
we're
you
gonna
would
get
be
a
so
lot of
bold.
backlash on this.
Yeah.
And then we filmed an uncorking of the 16.
But you know what's funny
17.
is that I never saw any list of the best of 2017 or the best of any year that had that in it.
I mean, it wasn't on my
in
top
recent
5.
years.
I haven't
wasn't
seen
on my
anybody
top
be on
5.
anyone lists in recent years. Yes.
But that being said, I mean, I have the 95.4, and it is significantly better
Oh, I want to try it.
than what I just had.
bring
And
it over.
I wish that I had brought it tonight. And I did look at it, and I went, should I save it? Should I save it?
Save it for Sweets Week.
So next month when we do your all's next episode, I'll bring that so that we can compare, because
Yeah, let's do it.
I really do think that what I have is 100% better than what that was. I mean,
A 3 out of 20.
3 out of 20.
That's what you gave it.
It's 100% not worth it.
Yeah.
It's
this particular bottle.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah's getting
And
stunted.
Sarah's going to sleep.
Sarah's ready to
Okay.
cash in for the
Well,
night.
All
It's
right.
Sarah's sleep time.
Sorry for that detour.
Sarah's shutting down.
That added some time.
Yeah.
Begin shutdown.
Begin
process.
shutdown process.
Is this now your longest episode ever?
No. If we want to go for another 30 minutes, it will be.
Oh, well, no. We don't need to do that.
So thank you all so much for sticking with us through this very different and interesting episode that we've
For sure.
we've
Yes.
done. Chad and Sara, thank you all so much for wanting to hook on to this show and being recurring guest hosts. guest co-host rather.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to have you all along for this. It'll be nice to see where things go.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody who is listening is interested in following up with you on social media, where can they find you?
Well, we're at It's Bourbon Night on Instagram, which is our biggest platform for social media.
Yeah.
But we're also on Twitter, also at It's Bourbon Night. We have a Facebook page, which is
It's Bourbon Night.
It's Bourbon Night. But the biggest, most important place to find us is youtube.com/It's Bourbon Night.
And then you can
guessed
see
it.
our faces. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see our...
Hear our voices.
You can see
our
cringy
faces.
faces when they try something they don't
Yeah.
like.
Exactly.
Always a
yeah.
treat.
Yeah, we just hit a milestone the other day of passing 7,000 subscribers, and now we're up to
wow.
7,100
Yeah.
and change.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we're loving it, and
Are you guys going to do a 7,000 subscriber video?
maybe a 7,500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal.
And then just getting closer to that goal of 10,000. You know,
Man,
We're
that'd be
really
awesome.
excited. Yeah.
Good.
very excited.
Good
Very
deal.
excited.
Shameless plug. I also was on a couple episodes of
This is
You
true.
were?
This
It's
is
Bourbon
true.
Night.
You were. Let's
Uh,
see. What do we do? We did the
1792
225th.
yeah, which was in my top 5 for bourbons of the year.
Really?
It was my number 5.
Wow.
And
I have
we
to
did-
revisit that.
I think so.
We
Yeah.
did Old Forester Statesman.
Yes. we did.
Statesman. Oh, jeez.
We watched that
Okay,
movie.
I have a question for you.
Go for it. Let's
Because
make it
I
the longest
haven't
episode.
seen I haven't seen Golden Circle yet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the new one.
Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
On the bottle that Jeff Bridges has,
Sure.
it says bottled in bond at the top, correct?
Correct.
Does it also say 95 proof towards the bottom?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to double check that.
Yeah, we'll have to
Because
look
I've been
at that.
trying to Google it and I can't
Well, look, when we watched it, I had a notebook and I wrote down all the things that were wrong with it, and it was a long list. And I went past just what they got wrong about bourbon, and I went what they got wrong about Kentucky, and it was a
Interesting.
long list. But that could be another one that I just slipped past me.
Interesting.
Oh
Right,
my
'cause-
God, Perry!
Now we have to rent it again.
Perry,
You have no idea. We need to discuss
it's
that.
bad.
I'm sorry.
It's bad.
I'm sorry. I would like to see it just so I could understand what they
It'll
get
make you
wrong.
mad.
But
It'll make you slap your mama, which is actually a line from the movie.
Yeah.
is it really?
Well,
Yeah.
That's so good. It'll make you slap your mama.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is it when they're drinking Statesman?
Yeah.
That's
Okay, I'll just go
unfortunate.
ahead. Spoiler for the most erroneous part about bourbon. First of all, they go into their rick house, and it's ricks like you've never seen. It's like a tiered system where this one sticks out, then this one sticks out further, and it sticks out further again. But then they have like these barrels.
I
that
have
are,
no way of audibly describing to you the,
What I just
the
did.
hand motions that Chad
like a
just
stair
made.
step.
A
Like a
stair
stair
step.
step. Like
Okay,
as
there
you
we
go
go.
up,
Sure.
they get
Yeah,
pushed
yeah,
in or
Thank you,
whatever.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Well, then here's these barrels on the far wall that are large enough for you to stand in. Barrels, and
Like if you could walk. If you
one
could,
of them has 1964 on it, and they're like, "This is the way to get in." So they take an axe and they hit the barrel about 2/3 up on it, and bourbon starts to spray out. Now, if that
I'm
had been sitting
hurting.
there since 1964, that thing would be empty, empty.
Not completely
in
full
Kentucky.
to where it'd be spewing out.
Yeah. And it would also taste like garbage.
Oh, it would
Garbage.
Be. This physically hurts me.
Yes,
hearing
Yeah,
and he
this.
was
so
like,
just-
"That's 1964 Statesman Reserve." And you're like, "Did you feel it today?"
First off,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Statesman
It's
is
a
not a
problematic
bourbon
movie.
Well, you know, it's made
We
for
should
the,
discuss
made
in
for the
depth
movie.
Yeah.
But
in the future.
we're going to discuss.
Do you
that
want? You guys
in
want to do a review of
Well,
that section?
We're
of,
gonna do a video on it. We can do a companion podcast.
Sure.
about it if you
Yeah.
like,
Because
but
I feel like we
we're
could
definitely gonna do a
really
video about
we
it.
could
Yeah.
really attack that.
Yeah, like, I'm
and,
like, you can't start going on this because we're going to be here for
No,
another hour.
that was the only one I wanted to say.
Well, then
That's a little preview.
Here's what we'll do then. We'll do a companion podcast episode, and we will torture ourselves and review.
We should just do like an audio commentary with the whole movie.
Yeah.
in the vein of the Weekly Planet,
Yes.
which they
That's
do.
funny.
I
Exactly.
watched their I watched the Star Wars holiday special. With,
Oh, I want to watch that.
it's
yeah.
terrible, but
Yeah.
they did a James and Nick Mason did a audio commentary to it, and it's. I mean that's the only way I could viably watch that is listen to them riff on it the entire time.
Oddly enough, that's where Boba Fett came from, though.
It is. It's very strange, and the animated portion of it is actually pretty decent. The rest of it is garbage.
Yeah,
but
I've started watching it on YouTube. I didn't get all the way through. I was like, I'm going to take a break, and then I never went back to it. But
you have to be drinking bourbon while you're doing it.
oh, yeah.
Nerds.
Oh, come on. You know, we were just on the Scotch Test Dummies. They like Star Wars. At least one of them. A whole lot. So, just saying.
I mean, everyone likes Star Wars.
Yeah.
Not everyone knows the origin story of Boba Fett.
Holiday special.
The only people who haven't seen Star Wars are the people who are in Star Wars because they're living the Star Wars, Ted.
I know that from somewhere.
It's from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Terrible show. Terrible show.
What?
Yep, terrible show.
I didn't realize that like this conversation went that deep.
No, it's an awful show.
Wow.
All right.
None of the jokes land.
Man.
It's all just canned laughter, crapola.
Well, to end on a positive
That was the
and
sound of the
happy note.
that was the sound of the air being taken out of my balloons.
Sorry,
Which
man.
is not a phrase, but I used it anyway.
Sorry, man.
Sure.
That's okay. Hey. I always say like what you like in regards to bourbon, so like what you like in regards to TV shows too.
Absolutely.
You like some questionable stuff. So.
No, I don't. All the stuff I like is awesome.
Everybody likes
Wow.
their own thing. So
Well, anyway, to wrap up this episode.
for the third time that we're wrapping up
Yeah,
this
no
episode,
kidding.
The real ending.
Thank you all so much for listening. We really appreciate it. If you want to follow the show on social media, go to @MyBourbonShop on Instagram and Twitter. You can find us on Facebook at This Is My Bourbon Shop. If you would like to email us, use thisismybourbonshop@gmail.com. I'm saying a lot, but that's okay. You can also use the hashtag. You can also use the hashtag This Is My Bourbon Podcast. If you have questions, comments, whatever for the show, we'd be happy to answer them, communicate with you, whatever. If you would write, man. Wow. I'm trying to get too much information.
Tag out? He's gonna tag out.
I'm going to get too much information out too quickly. If you would like to reach me at my personal accounts, at PRaider1492 is basically where you can find me across the board. We're on Patreon.
Yeah.
This is what is it? Patreon.com/This Is My Bourbon Podcast. If you want to chip in a couple of bucks a month, you don't have to do $50 a month.
You can put $1 in, right?
Yes, you can do $1. I threw up the 50 option because there are those people out there who are like, I want to keep supporting these people, and I don't know you, but thank you in the future.
Future thanks.
Whatever. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening. Give us a rate and review on iTunes or wherever you're listening if you can. We're also on Bandcamp now if people want to check that out as well. Again, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. And until next time, I'm Perry, and this is My Bourbon Podcast.